it going, guys and geeks? Welcome back to the Geekritique show. We're your hosts. I'm Jen.
I'm Dakota.
And we just saw the Mortal Engines panel. We saw the first 25 minutes, and we got to hear a little, Q&A with the cast and the amazing Peter Jackson, which was super, super cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we'll actually leave the Q&A section of the... we actually filmed a lot of the Q&A, so we can show you that at the end of our review, so stick around for that if you're interested. But in a non-spoiler way, tell us what Mortal Engines is about from what you saw, from what we saw. There are pigeons going over.
They're everywhere, and they're going to poop on me, and it's scary.
That would be really funny for the camera, though.
No, it wouldn't for me wearing these clothes for the rest of the day.
Anyway.
Sorry, what was your question?
Tell us about the Mortal Engines panel.
You saw our trailer reaction to the first trailer that they released. It seemed okay.
It seemed
unique. But that was kind of like the best I could say for it. Whereas after seeing, as soon as we got in, we saw the first 25 minutes without preamble, and it was fantastic. Visually stunning, very creative, and unique storytelling that I feel like I haven't really seen a film like that before. So I'm really excited. And then they showed another trailer after that looked a ton better than the first one that we saw.
It's a shame we couldn't have done a trailer reaction to that.
Yeah, because I was thinking that too, actually.
Because that would definitely be worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed that trailer. But so the actual feel of the world is so stunning. It's visceral and it's scary because you never know what to expect with these lifelike cities that roll around a post-apocalyptic Europe. As soon as the one town started getting chased, and this is going a little bit into spoilers, but this is just literally the beginning of the film, the city goes on lockdown and everything just starts closing up. All the shops start getting destroyed as all the panels start getting shut down.
This was so cool, the way that they were collapsible.
Yeah, the city was collapsible so that it could get moving, basically, because London was chasing it and about to eat it. And it was terrifying, actually. And the first 5 minutes, I was totally blown away.
Yeah, you're really anxious watching it.
Anxious is the right word, yeah.
Yeah, it was just so interesting. And then they managed, in the first trailer that we saw, they didn't really capture how great the world building is in this. They really do make the cities feel realistic. There are different cultures, which I think is such a huge part. And I guess I couldn't have expected less from Peter Jackson considering his history.
Right.
But I'm really happy that we were given that boost of confidence and able to see that.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Peter Jackson, when he strolled out on the panel and he had his coffee mug.
So cute.
And he's the coziest person ever. Everything he does, just all right, let's do this. Been doing this for 20 years now, and
yeah, everybody else looks a little nervous and stressed, and he's just whatever.
Yeah.
He strolled up like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. What did you think of the actual cinematography of everything? Because most of it was CGI.
Yeah, which it doesn't feel that way. It is
CGI is
super
getting
grand.
so real.
Yeah.
That, it's almost so realistic looking that it starts to feel too much. I don't know. In some instances, the world was really gritty, but the characters seemed to be so in focus that you could see the makeup on their face to an extent.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It reminded me kind of the Battle of Helm's Deep in the sense that it was really gritty and grand at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Where you'll have these wide shots, kind of when Legolas is climbing up on that elephant thingy. I don't know what they're called.
The Oliphant, yeah.
Oliphant. When he's doing that, and you get kind of you have a lot of similar movements and dynamic, which I like. So yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, it definitely has the ability to become a spectacle and not so much an actual good movie. I'm worried it's going to be more Hobbit than Lord of the Rings, if you know what I mean. But obviously, he has a great track record. Whatever you say about The Hobbit, he has made literally my favorite movies of all time, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I love King Kong. So I'm really excited to see what he does with this new venture. It's such a strange, steampunk future that...
Yeah, it's super steampunk.
There were actually some, hints towards it being, based on, our timeline. but like in the near, or like in the distant future, like
3,000 years in the future.
Something crazy.
Yeah, Peter
like
Jackson called it like post-apocalyptic, because like the post-apocalyptic, the post-apocalyptic, era has kind of almost it's ended, and they've transcended it to another part of history that's also
era.
kind of phasing out. This new era is also kind of like dying out, and they need to adapt. And it does show. What I liked most about it was it shows like the adaptability of mankind, right? Like they can kind of weather a lot of different circumstances, but then like class systems and like personality differences.
That kind of stays
and
the same.
And culture, kind of stays the same. Like, in those things in any society, you see kind of time and time again, which I thought was really cool.
There was a lot of exposition in the beginning of the movie, which I wasn't a huge fan of. You actually were.
I liked it a lot
because it really. What I will say is it really firmly planted you in the world. It explained what happened to the Earth that was and why the Earth that is how it is, basically. And they did it in a way that was both show and tell, which I feel like they could have spread that out throughout the movie and hinted at it, and I feel like that would have been personally more up my alley, but you seem to like...
I liked the way that they did it. I thought it was really creative.
It started in a museum, so it was a very quick and easy way to explain that setting, basically.
And there was a good amount of comedy too, which I liked.
Right.
Like, there was some funny scenes. I don't want to say what they were, but I definitely laughed a couple of times.
The American deities. We'll just leave it at that. Anyway, guys, before we get pooped on by pigeons,
yes, please.
I think we should wrap this review up. We're gonna play the panel now. Please note that we were asked to move several times within the filming of this, but you get a good shot of the entire cast in one way or another. So I hope you enjoy it. Please leave your comments in the comment section down below. And be sure to like this video, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, let's just keep the energy up there, because I'm going to introduce you to the fabulous cast which has been assembled from all over the world. Starting off with, you'll probably know him from Avatar and Don't Breathe, playing one of the Lazarus Brigade, the original resurrected man, Shrike in Mortal Engines, the wonderful Stephen Lang! From South Korea, we have playing the resistance fighter Anna Fang, musician and star of Nat Geo series Mars, the extraordinary Jihye. Soon she's going to be starring opposite Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke and Vincent D'Onofrio in his film The Kid, but making her feature film debut in Mortal Engines, playing Catherine Valentine, Lila George. Now this Irish actor who burst onto the world stage as one of the leads in the cult classic Misfits, and the iconic series Love Hate, and soon will be starring in the upcoming Netflix series Umbrella Academy, but playing Tom Naxworthy in Mortal Engines is Robert Sheehan! Award-winning actress that starred in numerous films, including The Oath and the series Da Vinci's Demons, and she's still in the 20s. She's playing the revolutionary heroine Hester Shaw, the supremely talented Hera Hilmar. He has long been known to audiences of Comic-Con as the Oscar-winning VFX wizard, but here, making his feature film debut, directing debut, I give you the ridiculously over-talented Christian Rivers! the Oscar and BAFTA-winning screenwriter of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy, the executive producer and writer of Mortal Engines, the scribe of scribes, the fabulously forensic Philippa Boyens! Finally, there is something else I can't remember. Oh yeah. You will probably know him as the winner of 3 Oscars, the creator of worlds, the visionary filmmaker behind The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, King Kong, and now Mortal Engines, the 8th wonder of the world. I call him my very, very dear friend, the mighty Peter Jackson! I think we should start with you, Christian, and seeing as this is a lot of your fault, so why don't we start with the basics? Tell us what Mortal Engines is about.
Right. Well, what isn't it about? So first of all, it's an amazing book by Philip Reeve. It's the first book in a series of 4 that essentially the sort of the story of Hera, Hester Shaw, and Tom Natsworthy, and it's sort of the beginning of their relationship and their journey in this unique world. Mortal Engines itself, as you saw the first 24 minutes of, it's about Hester Shaw, who's a fierce outcast in her world, and she's sort of driven by the memory of her murdered mother. She's driven by vengeance to sort of to take out Valentine. And she collides with Tom Natsworthy, who's a charming young man who's a historian who lives in London, and their worlds collide, and they go on this great adventure and find the bond together. But also, as part of Hester's dark sort of history, it sort of becomes revealed that she has the key to stopping London, which is on the verge of becoming an unstoppable, dangerous force that's going to sort of destroy the world. So that's kind of Mortal Engines in a nutshell. But more importantly, we want it to be a new story, a new world, and a new experiences for cinema lovers everywhere. So that's it in a nutshell.
Peter, when was it that you first came across Philip Reeves' novel? How did they come to you, and what started the process, and with you and Fran, wanting to bring it to the screen?
I read the novels in about 2006 or 7, and they were available, so we optioned them. There was 4 novels, and Philip's subsequently written about another 3 or 4 prequel books. So it is actually a very wide, rich world, and Mortal Engines is the first of the books. So we optioned them all then, and we did about a year's worth of work. Christian worked on it previous, and we started to work on the scripts, and then the Hobbit came along, which you will recall with that. And that sort of put us out of commission for 5.5 years, and Mortal Engines literally just got shelved, got a mothballed for 5.5 years. And so when we came out of that, Christian had done some second unit directing on The Hobbit, and I was exhausted, and I sort of suggested to Christian that he might like to shoot his first feature film, because we did want to make the film. The rights were running out, so we got it happening pretty soon after The Hobbit finished.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Philippa, what does the title of Mortal Engines actually mean?
Okay. That's the literary question.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, darling. It's from Othello, Act 3, Scene 3. No, it's Philip's a marvellous writer, and he borrows broadly from phrases all the time, including the name of Valentine's ship as the 30th floor elevator. One of the other books in the series is A Darkling Plane. But why he chose this title, it works on so many different levels. So it is, what it's saying is these cities are, yeah, they're huge engines, but they are teeming with life. And they've almost grown to become an entity in and of themselves, almost like a living organism. And Christian very cleverly wanted to make sure that you could see that predatory nature of the city in the great giant lions. And so what the other way in which it works is that it's speaking to the fact that this is a life cycle. The way of the laws of this world, municipal Darwinism, it's about the predator-prey situation. So even these giant cities can fall, and they can be fed upon. Their big giant carcasses can be fed upon by the little villages. And then finally, not to give too much away, very cleverly, it speaks to the character of Shrike, I think, the mortal engine, because Shakespeare is referring, when he says mortal engines, he's speaking about humans, about us, and our clamour and our imitation of immortality. And the character of Shrike speaks to that, I think, in a way, because of that whole notion of, is he human, is he immortal, or is he mortal, and is he a machine? You don't know. He's a mystery. You're a mystery, Stephen.
Indeed.
So yeah, there you go. That's
Thank you. Hero, I just wanted to ask you. Hester's such an amazing character, riveting character.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why you wanted to play her, and what was the audition process like for you?
Well, I think anyone who kind of gets a chance to look at Hester Shaw and go like, are you even interested in portraying her? It's like, hell yeah. I mean, she's such an amazing character, and she's so multidimensional and flawed and mental and crazy, but beautiful and lovely at the same time. And just to have the opportunity as an actress in this world to play a character that is allowed to be, and a female heroine is allowed to be that, or that scale, was just a dream for me. So yeah, I was totally up for it, and I did a tape for it to begin with that I did in Iceland, and things happened very quickly. We ended up all Skyping, which was very surreal, because you're like, I'm Skyping with these people, and it's like, should I like jump through hoops or something? And then suddenly we were in New Zealand and we were prepping, and it was happening. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Robert, you play Tom Natsworthy, and at the beginning of the film, he's sort of a true believer in the Traction City system.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about his backstory, though? Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Tom Natsworthy, he's an apprentice historian in the London Museum, and he's had not a sheltered upbringing, but probably the closest thing to a sheltered upbringing that you can have in this world, this very sort of harsh environment. And I think as part of that, he had a good upbringing by parents that are no longer in the picture. That have given him a kind of an unquenchable cheerfulness in a very, very dark world. And so he kind of, for me, was very much a kind of a beacon of light, positivity, no matter what was kind of thrown at him, he could kind of clumsily, in a kind of clumsily brave way, tackle it and deal with it, and has a very strong spirit. So that's kind of who Tom is,
Fantastic. Thank you. Layla, you play Catherine Valentine. She's the daughter of Thaddeus Valentine, who's London's chief archaeologist. She seems like someone who's in a little bit of a bubble of her own privilege at first, but she is a truth seeker, isn't she? And what can you tell her about us about her and her journey in the film?
She's definitely been brought up to respect class and her social standing. But in spite of that, she has such a huge heart, and it's always so obvious that she's eager to help people whenever she can. And what's really cool about her is that we catch her at this really interesting time in a young girl's, or in any young person's life, where they are discovering what the real world is, and that it's different from what they thought it was when they were growing up, and that this is reality. And I think that's really important for young people today as well. It relates to so many things, not just in the Mortal Engines world. You have your childhood and then you get woken up to what's really happening, and it's huge for her. And her journey is one of great strength, and we see her go, I think, from a girl to a really strong woman. And it's so cool to play a really strong anything. So I hope that's what translates, because it's a big journey for her, and it's really awesome.
Oh, it does. It certainly does. Jihei, Anna Fang is possibly one of the coolest badass characters ever. I mean, when we meet her, there's a bounty on her head. She's taken on an almost mythological status among the people who live in the static settlements. Can you tell us a bit about Anna and what her mission actually is?
Well, Anna is a symbolic character of resistance, leader in history of any kind. I mean, when you live in an unfair world where resources are so scarce that towns are on wheels eating other towns, there has to be someone that has to oppose the action of a path, of a culture that it can't thrive that way for very long, you know. And there is her main mission is to protect the only natural haven left on Earth, which is Shangguo, and also to stop London from unleashing another potential cataclysmic event on Earth. Right. And so, in essence, she's kind of like a fierce environmental activist who will do anything by any means to protect the nature and to protect Shangguo, whether it be sword fighting or gun toting or kung fu fighting. She will go and fight.
Cool, amazing. Stephen, as we started to discuss Shrike, the character, I mean, he's quite a mysterious figure. I mean, who or what exactly is he or it? And what were your, I suppose, what were your inspirations for creating the character, the physicality for the character? Where did you draw that inspiration from?
Once upon a time, he was a man named Kit Soland, ages previous to the actions of Mortal Engines. And that man was killed, and his body was taken, and he was hollowed out, so there was really only a chassis left.